Next one then. From the same scene, Macbeth sort of reflecting on things, and you see things start to fall apart for him here. Again, another image of where he is almost drowning in blood, and he says, compares. Now this time it's not a sea of blood, but it's a river of blood, and he says, I've gone so far in this business that even if I stop now, should I wade no more, returning were as tedious as go over. So basically saying I'm in the middle of a river of blood. I'm wading. I'm waist high in this blood, and I've got two choices. I either stop now and get out of this game and go back when I'm going to have to kill a fair few people and it's going to get messy, or I just keep going to the other side, keep marching, keep wading through the blood, and he chooses the latter. Yeah, until his bones, his armor from his flesh be hacked. So another river of blood, blood flowing kind of imagery for you there. Okay, more ridiculous levels of violence, almost unnecessary. Shakespeare making the witches seem utterly disgusting. They're cooking up a sort of witchy brew in their cauldron. And one of the things they like to chuck in is this finger of a babe that has been strangled at birth. So lovely bit of infanticide. Come back to that in a minute. Murdered at birth. Just after, presumably, it's been delivered in a ditch by a drape or a drab, is a prostitute. So she, really taking it to some levels here, Shakespeare. You've got insane levels of violence, and you've got the use of plosives, which are these sounds where it sounds like the sort of sound is exploding out of your mouth, literally where you stop the air or stop emitting any noise or sound from your mouth, and then force a load out at once, right? So like d or t or b, and there's sort of a force to them there. So the ditch, delivered, birth, strangled, babe. Those are your plosives there. The element of theatre. This must have been fantastic to watch on the Jacobean stage, all witchified and the supernatural and cauldrons bubbling away, smoke rising, them shouting to the forces of darkness, and so on. And I think the supernatural was a big winner, big crowd pleaser, in when this was first performed. Okay, on we go, Act 4, Scene 2. Then Macbeth has decided he's going to keep wading. He's going to keep wading in this river, and now this leads him to infanticide, killing of kids, and depicted quite disgustingly in the most recent version there, where Macbeth burns them all on the stake. Nice, and he says he's going to give to the edge of the sword Macduff's wife, his babes, and all unfortunate souls that trace him in his line. So very Machiavellian here. He's not taking any chances. He's going to not let the little snakes grow up to be big snakes and develop teeth. He's going to take him out now and put an end to that line and that threat. So this is a sort of dark, sinister twist that Macbeth's taken. He's really deteriorated from the noble violence, if there is such a thing, on the battlefield at the start, where it's kind of simplistic and straightforward, and that was in his kind of element there. That was what he's doing. You sense that's how he's been spending most of his adult life, but now he sort of seems out of his depth, not quite with the heart to keep doing these horrendous things that get worse and worse and worse, and lead him into this situation, which is causing no small amount of mental ruin and deterioration for him. Poor Macbeth. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Right, other bloody scenes. Well, you got the fact that the out-damned spot, I say, Lady Macbeth can't get the idea of blood out of her hands. She can't wash it off her hands. She's hallucinating now. Lovely little irony, because at the start she says a little water clears us of this deed. Not so fast. No, it doesn't. And now she can't wash it off however much she tries. And not just the sight of it, the smell of it lingers for her. More symmetry. Before it was that will all Neptune's great ocean wash the blood from the hand, and now it's will all the perfumes of Arabia not sweeten this hand. So again, another little touch of symmetry there from Shakespeare. And you got this idea that the blood is so thick and so lingering and stains so much that there's no escape from it. Part of the sleepwalking scene, where she says, "Who would have thought the old man to have had so much blood in him?" Yeah, who would have thunk it? Giving the game away completely there. Okay, there are many others. Here's just a selection of all the. I could have chosen lots of others, but you probably had enough blood by now to put you off your dinner. Um, just pick out a couple. Memorize another Golgotha. That was the site of Christ's crucifixion. I think that was a local town. So a scene reminiscent of horrendous violence for that Christian audience. Duncan's very first line, "What bloody man is that?" sets a tone of confusion, insecurity, mystery, and violence. The blood-bolted Banquo, lovely bit of plosive alliteration there. Bolted means kind of clotted as well, so that the blood is pouring out thickly and sort of clotting all over his face or his hair into his gory locks, and yeah, nice. Um, said they ate each other. That's a reference to the horses, or some horses at the night of the murder. A sign of nature getting twisted and warped and ruined. Duncan's deathbed's a bloody stage. He himself's got golden blood. Grooms are badged with blood. Then there's a fair bit of discussion in Act 4 between Malcolm and I think Macduff, or perhaps one of the other lords. Um, so about how the country weeps, it bleeds, and there's bleed, bleed, poor country. A sense that Scotland is sick. Macbeth is the disease, and Scotland needs purging. It needs sort of a bloodletting to get rid of all of the badness. Like in Jacobean or Elizabethan medieval medicine, where they put leeches on you to sort of suck the bad blood out. There's a sense that that's what is necessary for Scotland. And then my soul is too charged with blood of thine already. That sort of warning Macbeth gives to Macduff right at the end. That's not Act 4, Scene 3. I should have changed that. It's right at the very final battle scene, and he's sort of winding him up there, saying, "I killed your kids, mate, and your wife. So stand back from me." So plenty of other places to go to. I think perhaps worth having a think. Why all this violence? Like, what is the point? Why does he have to take it to such levels? Why is it so disgusting? Going around from top left, then perhaps King James just loves it. He just enjoys this genre style. We know that this is a tailor-made play for the king, that he's interested in the supernatural, that he's also warning him about threats to his power and stuff, as well as it being based in Scotland. So maybe he loves it. It might be a kind of sycophantic thing to make James's ancestors seem even more glorious. They had to deal with all of this horrendous acts, and look how bad it was, and they still came out on top. And you're the product of that, James. We all love you, James. Maybe it's the historical reality. Just Macbeth showing, look, this is what it was like. Shakespeare showing this is what it was like. The seriousness of these political events. Does Shakespeare perhaps want to reveal something about human nature, an insight into human barbarity, and just a realism here? I think there's a lot of that comes through in the play with the, a sort of undermining of the divine right of kings. This is not, Shakespeare's kind of showing that this is not all nice, and this is not, not that the term Disneyfied would mean anything to him, but this is certainly no Disneyfied version of kingship, where the sort of happy, smiley, handsome king with his sleeping beauty daughter and his wife, then all his subjects loved him. It's not that. This is a brutal dog-eat-dog world, and who's got the biggest teeth, and there's no police or justice system. It's just who's got the biggest army and is the most ruthless and prepared to do the worst things that attains and retains power. Maybe on that note, he wants to get across the nature of things that some will do for power, and the sort of Machiavellianism that some people are capable of. Maybe it's Shakespeare who loves it, not King James. Maybe Shakespeare's personality. He just loves this level of violence. Bottom right, I think it certainly makes the play more exciting, more unusual, more, if all these men just sort of sit round and have a cup of tea and discuss the flowers and compare their latest tartan underpants they got, then it's not going to make much of a play or much of a spectacle. So he needs it to be kind of shocking and horrendous and violent, and like many films do these days. So maybe he wants to show brutal reality of medieval Scotland in particular, and he's been reading his Holinshed Chronicles, and that's what comes out of it. Perhaps a bottom there to show that power corrupts, absolute power corrupts absolutely in some people, and encourages them into extreme violence. Maybe it's a sort of, again, sucking up to King James, and this is a warning to any would-be conspirators, a bit more, any other Guy Fawkes out there. This is what will happen to you. your world will fall apart and you will drown in a river of your own blood, kind of thing. And the last one there is just a nasty entertainment, which increases the drama tension like any modern horror movie. Okay, so that about sums it up for the well, not all the blood, violence, and horror in Macbeth. There's plenty more than that, but perhaps that gives you some things that you could be using in a Macbeth essay sometime soon, or even a Macbeth exam coming to an exam hall near you. Okay, hope it helps. Leave some comments or like it or subscribe it, and let me know how I can make these more useful. Okay, bye bye.
Under pressure.